Welcome to your 12-minute HR lesson. Today we're talking about ambushes. We're talking about how they're tempting, why you need to avoid them legally, but also why you need to avoid them from a psychological point of view. And if we're going to talk about ambushes, there's no better place to start than with mobsters. Curious? Let's go. Are you a mobster movie fan? I watch them when I'm in the right type of mood. I never got into The Sopranos. I haven't seen every mobster film. I've seen a number of them. And the interesting question with gangster films is which one is the greatest? Was it Godfather 1, Godfather 2, or Goodfellas? I've seen ex-mobsters on YouTube say Goodfellas is the most realistic, because the problem with the Godfathers is they consulted with the mafia too much, they kept them happy too much, and they were painted as tragic aristocrats a little bit too heavily instead of the violent thugs that they were that you see in Goodfellas. What we're talking about today is ambushes. What we're talking about is surprise. Someone walks into a situation in which they know a lot less about what's about to happen than everybody else. Everybody else is prepped and they're ready and they have the information and they know what's actually going to happen, except for the one person who's been ambushed, who are being surprised. An ambush is an organized surprise. And if you're going to talk about popular references, you just can't go past the mobster ambush. And they're so interesting. There's so many different versions of them in which everything's fine. There's even misdirection. There's so many classic scenes in which there is an organized ambush and people are taken out. The end of the first Godfather movie is 4 or 5 or 6, I can't quite recall, ambushes in which Michael Corleone just cleans house, takes out a number of enemies, both external and internal. The pinnacle of Goodfellas is when Joe Pesci's character thinks he's about to be made, thinks he's going to become a made man with the mob, what he'd always wanted, but in fact it was an ambush and they kill him. Because he had killed a made man 10 years ago. Sorry, spoilers for Goodfellas, I guess. So to break down these ambushes, what is the mob doing, why are they doing it, and how do they do it? It's pretty straightforward. They don't like a guy. They've decided that he doesn't fit in. They decided that he can't be trusted. Either he's a mole or he's moving against them or he made some big mistakes. And so they take him out, so they kill him. But if they go straight at him and he knows that he's about to be attacked, he's going to fight back or he's going to run. They aren't going to be able to take him out. So what do? They trick him. They trap him. They ambush him. They bring him into a situation that he is unaware of what's about to happen so that they have full control, so that they have full preparedness and they catch him unaware so he can't defend himself or get away. There's no option for him other than to be a victim of their pre-organized hit. So what is a workplace ambush? It's nothing like a mob ambush, and nothing as extreme as that. But we can easily accidentally do a very mild version of that. We don't intentionally do them, but the risk of ambushing someone is ever present and is something you need to keep your eye on, both legally, ethically, good practice and engagement-wise, because it's really easy to do and it's a really costly mistake when you do it. So, the most common type of ambush that we see is where you know what's going on, the manager knows what's going on, they're calling a meeting with someone in which you are more prepared than they are. And they are being put on the spot to provide explanation without preparation for the full picture. The courts don't describe these things as ambushes. Specifically, what they talk about is that the person needs to be fully informed and be able to speak to all of the evidence. I mean, knowing exactly what's going on. And this goes back 30, 40 years, the expectation that the person needs to know what it is that they're talking about. And when you read those cases back from the 1980s, when this precedent was set, you could see that's what people would do. That's what was happening. Such and such a manager would pull so-and-so in and say, hey, look, we've had this allegation that you've done this. Did you do it? Why did you do it? In which the person goes, what are you talking about? I don't know what's going on. I don't know the full picture. This has completely blindsided me. And they give on-the-spot answers. So the simple answer that I can give you is ambushes are bad, don't do ambushes. Be careful of ambushes. Law says you can't do ambushes, so don't do them. And that's true. So let's take that as given. Now let's talk about why people do ambush. What is the temptation? And you can probably see it. It's always preferable to be more prepared, to be more knowledgeable, to be more clear about what is going on than the person that you are talking to. It's always a subtle stacking of the deck to go, well, look, I'll just ask him. You're putting him on the spot. You're getting his answer on the spot. And to be absolutely blunt, there's some validity to it. Someone put on the spot, telling the truth, doesn't have to think about it. They just have to tell you the truth. Someone put on the spot wanting to make up a lie is having to come up with a story quickly, and they may not come up with a good story, or they may not remember it down the track. So the temptation to put someone on the spot and give them a choice of tell the truth or make up a bad lie, there's real temptation to that, isn't there? But this is why we can't do it, and this is why we shouldn't do it. They will be angry. They will be frustrated. They will know what you've done at some level. You will put them in a heightened anxiety, fight or flight, in which they will come out of that upset and frustrated and angry with you. Now, there's lots of implications of that. One is that your engagement with that employee, if this relationship was going to continue, your relationship with them is always going to be compromised by this on-the-spot request, this ambush that you've done. Secondly, they're going to be upset. And if there's a reason why people take personal grievances, it is because they are upset. So, why do people litigate? This is a whole different topic that we've got to cover another day. People litigate, people sue, people take grievances against us for emotional reasons, not for logical reasons. And the greatest emotional reason you can give people is something that feels unfair. And nothing feels more unfair than an ambush. What's your takeaway? The takeaway is that whenever dealing with difficult situations, whether or not it's low level or high level, whether or not it's serious misconduct or performance or just expectations, you should never catch people unawares. You should have this test in your head. Is this an ambush? Is this person walking into this room without understanding what it is that we're going to be talking about or the level of magnitude of it? Is this person going to be surprised by what's going to happen? And if surprised, have I made it clear to them? They can always not read the letter. They can always ignore the correspondence. But have you been really clear with them? This is what's going to happen in this situation. You need to develop a sixth sense for this feels like an ambush. This feels like a surprise. Maybe we need to be a little bit more upfront with this. That's a little check that a good HR or a good ER person should have in their head. Another check is a deer in the headlights check. If you're talking to someone and that person seems shocked and surprised, like a deer in the headlights, they're just frozen, they don't know what's going on, you've really caught them unawares. That's a warning sign to you. If someone's suddenly shocked and surprised about what it is that we're talking about, that's your sign to ask yourself, to think, maybe we need to back up, maybe we need to reset. We've caught this person unawares. Is that a problem? Is that a bad thing? And your alarm bell should be going off. What you need to do is avoid the temptation of stacking your deck with a surprise, with an ambush, with information that you're holding in reserve that they don't know. Ambushes can happen before, but they can also happen during. Sometimes a manager will be tempted to hold back a little bit of information to reveal halfway through. Also tempting, but also an ambush. Have that sense, have that worry, have that check. Is this an ambush? Because you'll know that you've done it, and so will they. And someone who feels that they've been snuck up on will be out for revenge. Sometimes at the end of a recording, I feel like I've got homework. I feel like I've got more. Okay, we need to cover this and we need to cover that. I've got like 3 more topics coming out of today that I need to get back to you on. So, park those. They're coming. Don't worry. But otherwise, thank you for listening. We do have courses on this. We do have courses on good process. We deal with disciplinaries. We deal with performance management. We deal with incapacity. We deal with difficult allegations. So this is something we can really help you with in our courses, or we can help you with one-on-one if you do need that help. Just reach out. Have a look at pragmatichrm.nz. See how we can help. Otherwise, thank you for listening. As always, please repost, please share. Please get us out there so other people can learn the stuff for free. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Thanks.